So with your permission, we would like to start the session now.
Very good morning, everybody. Bye.
Good morning. And
louder.
Good morning and a warm welcome to Professor Ashok Mishra ji, the Nasi Distinguished Professor at the Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru, Professor Gopal Mugaraya ji, Director NIT Goa, all the esteemed audience of this national webinar from various NITs, Goa College of Engineering, faculty, staff, and beloved students. A warm welcome to each one of you to this webinar on new opportunities in the teaching, learning, and evaluation process in the changed scenario of COVID pandemic. We are all aware of how the pandemic has drastically changed the way education is imparted and perceived. In spite of that, we at NIT Goa have been putting in our best efforts to carry out all our academic and research commitments. However, to give more insight into this newly evolving teaching-learning process, primarily which is online content delivery based, we have with us an eminent academician and a renowned researcher, Professor Ashok Mishra ji, who shall be throwing light on the new opportunities that this pandemic has created. It's my proud privilege to introduce him to the august audience. Professor Ashok Mishra ji is currently National Academy of Sciences Distinguished Professor at Indian Institute of Science. Earlier, he was Director IIT Bombay from 2000 to 2008. He obtained his BTech in Chemical Engineering from IIT Kanpur, MS from Tufts University, and PhD from the University of Massachusetts. He also completed the Executive Development Program at Kellogg School of Management, Illinois. A distinguished engineer and a scientist with more than 3 decades of service in the field of education as teacher and researcher. Professor Mishra ji is the director on the boards of Jubilant Life Sciences, Jubilant Pharma, Kirloskar Electric Company, Higher Education Financing Agency. Earlier, he has also been on the boards of Reliance Industries, National Thermal Power Corporation, and Rashtriya Chemicals Fertilizers. He has held several responsibilities with the Ministry of HRD, including Chairman of Standing Committee of IIT Council and Chairman of Board of Governors, IIT Roorkee. He is a Fellow of National Academy of Sciences and also was its President from 2006 to 2008. The founder president of Polymer Processing Academy, former president of Society of Polymer Sciences, a member of number of professional societies. He has guided 22 doctoral students, authored 2 books so far, has served 8 patents and 7 more in the process, and over 182 international publications. He has also been a visiting scientist at the Monsanto Chemical Company in Springfield for many years, where he also worked as senior research polymer scientist. During his tenure as director, IIT Bombay was made into a leading R&D institute while maintaining its leadership in quality education as well. He won the Professor M. Santappa Silver Jubilee Award given by the Society of Polymer Science in recognition of his outstanding research and leadership in polymer technology. His research interests include engineering polymers, polymer blends, alloys, fiber-reinforced thermoplastic composites, liquid crystal polymers and their blends, structure property correlation, synthetic fibers, polymer product design, etc. Professor Mishra ji has immensely contributed to the polymer technology and has won many awards and laurels. The list is actually very long. So, with that, we from NIT Goa humbly thank you, sir, so much for accepting our invitation and gracing this occasion. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to take the privilege of introducing our director, Professor Gopal Mugaraya ji, to the audience. Professor Gopal Mugaraya ji obtained his BTech and MTech in Chemical Engineering from NIT K. Suratkal with gold medal and obtained his PhD from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Further, he obtained his postdoctoral degree from University of California, USA. He has served at NIT K for about 28 years in various capacities as Professor, Head of the Department, Chief Warden, Dean Academics, Dean Planning Development, Dean Students Welfare, and also as a board member. Professor Mugrayaji has guided over 10 PhDs and 87 MTech students, published 75 international journals in the area of chemical engineering. He was invited as a visiting professor at AIT Bangkok, Monash University, CPSC, Manila. He also served as an advisor to ICTE and as chairman of Pollution Control Board, Karnataka. Before joining NIT Goa, he already had served as director of NIT Agartala and also NIT Mizoram. He was the chief coordinator of an ambitious project of Dr. Kalam and also had a special privilege to be one of the technical experts accompanying President of India, Sri Pranab Mukherjee, during his official tour to China in 2016, where the Chinese universities and Indian universities signed MOUs for research collaboration. He was invited to attend the BRICS Energy Summit in 2018 at Moscow, which was presided over the Russian President, Sir Vladimir Putin. There are many more accomplishments to his credit. And currently, one of the biggest ones I can state is now he is in the process of building our new campus, NIT Goa at Punkolim, which will be inaugurated this very year, 2021. With this brief introduction, I would like to request our director, sir, to speak a few words on this occasion. Over to you, sir.
Namaskar, friends. Good morning. It's a great honor for an young institution like NIT Goa to have such an eminent speaker, rather one of the iconic person and pride of India, Professor Ashok Mishra ji, as a guest speaker for today's function. In fact, when I approached Professor Ashok Mishra, he's such a busy man. So I told him, sir, you give me any date, it's okay for us, but we want your presence. So thank you very much for your presence here, sir. Professor Ashok Mishra, I know him very well as my mentor. If you just in a single word say, he got his graduation from IIT Kanpur, served in IIT Delhi for 25 years as a professor, director of IIT Bombay for 10 years, and he was a chairman of IIT Roorkee. That means his blood has an IIT in his system. You know, it's a great honor, and he's in the various committees. That's always said that the toughness and the sweetness of your music is always appreciated by musicians. And it's always well said that Professor Mishra, he's a hardcore academician, teacher, professor, and a very good chemical engineer. It's a great honor for us to have you there, sir. Welcome to you, sir. And also I welcome all the delegates. A special delegate is my boss, Professor Sapan Bhattacharya, the former director of NIT Surathkal. He is in Kolkata, and his love and affection towards me. I just sent an email and he is with us. Welcome, sir. Because we had a very good interaction of 4 years. He was my boss, I was the dean at the time. Welcome, sir. Sir, this COVID pandemic has put all the entire humanity into a severe jolt, socially, economically, and emotionally. We always talk about physical distancing, social distancing, and emotional distancing. Moving from a conventional face-to-face contact to an online and virtual mode, it's a new for all, for professors, teachers, students, and the institution itself. There's a paradigm shift in the teaching learning process. We say that the teaching was from faculty-centric to the student-centric, informal-based to the knowledge-based, classroom teaching to the virtual mode, term-based evaluation to the continuous evaluation, closed book evaluation to the open book evaluation, answer to the question to the answer. And the last one is the preparing for a job was the term. Now we have to prepare a student for the profession. So under these challenges and the change scenario, it's really a difficult situation for all professors to switch over from the classroom teaching to the online teaching. However, all of us have made our effort very clear, and it's inevitable. But it's like the lighter side. A person who was a vegetarian for 40 years, suddenly one day he decided to become a non-vegetarian. He might be prepared, but the system takes some time for him. because system is used to the vegetarian meal. So like this, so there's a lot of challenges. We have been working on that, and in fact, we had conducted so many seminars. But today is the inculcation, the final word from Dr. Ashok Mishra ji, because we said that let us not list out the challenges, how to convert these challenges into opportunities. That is the crisis, that is the crux of the issue. I'm very sure Professor Mishra will address this issue very clearly, so that all of us will by choice will go for online teaching, so that we can give more knowledge to the students rather than pumping them with information. Previously, when we were the students, the job of a teacher to pump more of information. Now, the job of a teacher is to train the mind to think and also convert how the information can be converted to the knowledge. I'm very sure at the end of this seminar, we'll have a clear-cut idea on that. Just as a director of the institute, I always tempted to say a few words about NIT Goa because it's our institution. NIT Goa is a very infant institution, all of you know. It's only 10-year-old. But in spite of that, we are doing very well. We are in a transit campus, and our new campus is getting ready in a fast mode, and hopefully it will be ready by within 8 months. But we never left our performance as an excuse for having in a transit campus. I'm very proud to say that for the last 3 years, we have published more than 400 essay journals. We have filed 14 patents. We have 84 PhD students, and this convocation, Professor, we are graduating 12 PhD students. Only we are 9-year-old as an institution, and because of all these academic achievements, we got an NRF rank of 77. We are the first amongst the new NITs in the system. Long way to go, and we have only 38 faculty members, sir, but we have today, as of today, 32 crores was research grant. And thanks to God that none of the days are missed for any of the unrest in the campus. Only thing is we are missing our students badly in the campus, but can't help. That is the life. And I'm very sure we'll be moving to the campus within 8 months, and we'll try to perform better. I have got 1 year, 4 months. I'm very sure we'll shift the campus and increase the strength, double the strength to 2,000 students in the campus, and so that NIT Goa, in fact, it was a dream of late Manuel Parker to make Goa as the education hub of India. And it is, see, you have IITs now, NITs, BITS Goa, GCE, and many more private colleges. I'm very sure with the synergic networking of all these NITs, IITs, NIT Goa is going to be the future education hub of country. That's my dream to make this as a contribute little to this dream of Professor Dr. Manuel Parker. With these few words, I once again welcome our special guest speaker, Professor Ashok Mishra ji, and all the participants for honoring our invitation and with us. Namaskar, Vande Mataram.
Thank you so much, Professor Gopal Mugarayam. I have, of course, known you for quite some time now and seen what you did at Surathkal, then at Tripura, and now here. And thank you for inviting me for this very important subject of what happens with online teaching and how to go forward as we move forward. And thank you for the very nice introduction you gave. That's very nice. Okay, so I will, by the way, you invoked the name of Manuel Parker, a very dear friend of mine, and also alumnus of IIT Bombay. It is who he brought me closer to Goa by inviting me in for several functions in Goa. And then we started interacting with Goa Engineering College. And we pushed for IIT to be in Goa, so that happened, and an IIT has also come. So his dream of making Goa as an educational hub is coming through with people like you taking it forward, Professor Gopal. So thank you once again. I wish I was in Goa to give this lecture in person because I love Goa. So any opportunity that comes, I'll come. Okay, so I'll share my slides.
Yes, sir. So now I invite Professor Ashok Mishra ji to kindly deliver his expert talk. Thank you, sir.
So let me see if I can.
You have slides.
How do I share the screen?
Okay, no problem.
You'll have to guide me a little. Have you given me right to?
Yes, sir.
Oh, there. No, I'm not able to see.
Sir, so there is a hand. No, sir, just right to the hand, there is an up arrow. There you can click, sir.
No, I know I got there, but how do I share my PowerPoint? So shall I go to the entire screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but it's not showing. It only shows the whole screen. All of us sitting.
Sir, after you do entire screen, click on that and do share. Click on that screen.
Okay.
And now you say share. Yeah, it's coming, sir.
Okay. 1 second. See, every platform has a different.
I know, sir. There's a common thing.
Yeah.
So we will all be muting ourselves so that.
Sir, we'll mute ourselves.
No, I know, but don't mute yet until I get to what I want.
Not you.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. You can
Full screen.
full screen, sir. That's
Yeah,
fine.
I'll do that.
Yep.
I'll do that, and then yeah. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the topic that you gave was opportunities in the teaching and learning in the evaluation process. In this change scenario of COVID pandemic, it's a very wide topic and a very interesting topic. For some reason, my graphics are not coming. Oh, they've come. Okay. So COVID pandemic crisis has disrupted education on a scale never seen before, and we hope that it will never happen again. Just to give you some statistics, Professor Gopal said a few words, but a total of 1.7 billion students and more globally have been affected by the closure of schools and higher education institutions in universities and the like in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. It's a very huge number. It's greater than the population of India, for example. So by mid-April 2020, that is last year, almost a year plus ago, more than 90% of the world's learners, that is students, had been locked out of classrooms. That's a very tough wording to say. Locked out means you're not allowed to go to your classrooms. According to UNESCO monitoring report, 192 countries had implemented worldwide closure, affecting about 99% of all the students which were there. Okay, with this in mind, let us see what is the what's happening. At least, again, these are reports, statistics, reports that at least 463 million students are cut off from remote learning. What this means is the following, that there's a wide gap between what the government policies say and their aspirations are and what is being implemented regarding online education on the grassroots level. Large number of students cannot be reached online. There are people in villages in India who do not have access to online platforms, electronic devices. I'm sure there are students in African countries who don't have that. So they cannot be reached. And the question is, and then you can see on the right side, on the left side, you can see in, let's say, primary education, if there are 521 million students, only 217, less than half, are able to actually attend classes online. It's a huge number, less than 50%. Lower secondary, upper secondary, this is for schools. For colleges, the numbers will be similar. So are the young brains, so some of these statistics are for school education, so please bear with it, and then we'll come to higher education. The question that we should, are the young brains being starved of stimulation due to closure of their institutions? And then therefore going online education. And some are totally starved because they don't have access. As students return to their classrooms, the shock created by the pandemic will lead to changes that will make education, hopefully, and I'll talk about that, more flexible and efficient so that we don't have to get the shock wave if anything of this happens again. The bottom line, and I'll keep alluding to this again and again, what really matters is good education to provide a good future life. That's the main thing that we have to keep in mind, that you give good education, whichever way you give it, so that the recipient has a good future in his or her professional career and so on. Okay, good. Okay, these are just, from all over the world in different languages because of the pandemic. This is closed, that is closed. Everything is happening, just to give you an idea of how it all began. And people didn't know what to do. So the best thing to do is close the schools so that the pandemic doesn't spread and so on. So it's a global phenomenon. It's not related to India. And as I said earlier, it's disrupted education of over 90% of world students. I don't know, why don't we say 100%, because I don't see any 10%. Maybe some doctoral students are going to colleges and so on. And exaggerated already existing inequality. So those who have access to online education, they were already richer and better off. So they are better off. But those who didn't are now getting pushed on the other side. So this marginal, this divide, which I can say the digital divide is expanding, which is not a good thing. Future of the entire generation of students is at risk. This is, you have to keep in mind. And keep in mind that education is for their future benefit. We need to be concerned by the fact that COVID-19 pandemic threatens to reverse the progress which has been made over the years in the education sector. Hopefully we will not reverse after I finish my talk, and we'll take it forward, at least for higher education. Humanity and Inclusion joined the Save Our Future campaign, which brings together multiple voices for greater commitment to education. The campaign gathers is led by UN agencies like UNICEF, UNESCO, UNHCR, donors such as Global Partnership of Education, Education Cannot Wait, Education Commission, and so on, and NGOs like Save the Children and BARC. BARC is a Bangladesh rural and academic, I forget the full form. The crisis will particularly affect the marginalized learners. So those who were, as I mentioned earlier, were already little marginalized in the, who are less privileged, don't have access to good education, they will get even more marginalized. Not a good thing to happen. And those with disabilities, even worse. And this applies to all people with disabilities, because how do you go to an online education? Different levels of disruptions will be seen and are being seen in richer countries who have access to technology, and developing poorer countries who don't have this. There's urgent need to secure funds, both domestic financing and international aid, to deliver quality, inclusive education to all children, in fact, all students. So the ways in which COVID-19 pandemic will shape the future, and these are just some points, and I'll elaborate on more of them. There's likely that less funds will be available for education, so we have to brace for that. How do we manage? Millions of children may not return to school or universities. I mean, just look at migrant workers who may have been in Bombay and have gone back to their village where there's no school, may never come back, because, life is more important than going to a school in Bombay, which may be difficult. So that may happen. Learning loss will exaggerate inequality between different classes, the higher and the lower and the middle and so on. EdTech, and I'll mention that again, EdTech is not going to be the great equalizer as some think. You see so many advertisements of online education. Will they make any difference? The answer is only a very little and not enough. And I'll give you some statistics later. High-stake examinations are unfair. CBSE is cancelled, this board is cancelled, that board is cancelled, and this will continue in the future, so we have to brace for that. Education markets will be disrupted, putting strain on the public sector. Okay, let's talk a little bit about school education, and then we'll go away from it. The student population of India is a little over 300 million. And nearly 2/3 are living in rural India. Do they have access to, how many of them have access to cell phones and so on? So there may be one cell phone, maybe a smart cell phone in the family. And let's say there are 3 kids, there's a husband who's working, he may have to, or maybe the wife is working, and that one device is being shared by 5 people. Is that a good thing? No, it's not. The World Bank estimates that a year's worth of no schooling will mean a loss of $400 billion for India. Essential to have technology working for all. This we have to do. And then recently I saw Reliance says that they'll come out with a smartphone which is much cheaper and more affordable and so on. So we need to do those things a lot more. In other words, we need equitable education. Same education for all, no matter which part of society they come from. This requires access to digital technology at every level for all children, and not so easy. The top 5 ed companies, and I won't name them because I don't want to be singled out there, have a total subscription base of 5 billion students, which is approximately 2% of the student population. So they may be on television advertising this, that, and the other, but how many people are they affecting? Okay, let's say not 3%, even say 5%, it's still a very small amount. They may end up exaggerating the digital divide because those who can afford these will get this 5%, let's say 5% students. And what about the others who cannot afford them? They are making money, but how about the students? Digital access becomes easy if one thinks of population scale and create societal platforms for the public good. And this in India has led the way in its Aadhaar system. It's an outstanding example. This has to go into the education. This kind of thing has to go into the education system. So what will we do in the future? Teaching learning process, we'll have open source e-learning solutions, maybe blended learning methodologies, personalized learning powered by artificial intelligence, not easy to do because there's so many kids. Redefine the role of educators, convenient methods to ease teachers' tasks, and rising demand of skill-based short courses. Okay, so the government-led distance learning, and this gives you a picture of, you know, by the colors and all, you can see where the government has helped, and this is based out of May 2020, and you can see the kinds of colors that you see with, you can have these teachings done by the government, by either TV, online, and some places maybe the schools may not be closed. It gives you a whole picture that 90% people are online, and some maybe are going to school, as the map shows. Now the households access to internet, radio, TV, mobile, because these are the devices from which you can learn. So if you look at the lower income group, they own a mobile but have very little of the others. And then on the right side, the higher income group, they are the ones who are privileged at the end of the day and therefore have many multiple devices for education. This is an interesting representation that what is the receptivity through online medium for different age groups. So in A, you can see very poor receptivity is very high in the, let's say, 18 to 32 region. Higher age groups, it's not bad, but in this age, the main college-going students, 18 to 20, is very poor. Children, maybe it's not that poor. And then the second one is learning medium used by different age groups. And this gives you an idea of what kind of things that they're using, smartphones or TVs or and so on. Many of them are smartphones, and you know, I mean, smartphone is okay, but it's a small screen. How much can you teach on a small screen? Overall receptivity of students is given on this circle pie chart. Very poor is of the order of 36%. Okay, so online education, we are all saying online education, but if you see the statistics, 36, let's say 40% odd people are getting very poor receptivity. So are we doing justice to teaching through online? We have to improve. And this pie chart shows you whether the respondent faced health issues, whether the respondent utilized the time efficiently, whether the respondent is socially well and connected, and this gives you an idea of the overall thing that is going. So all these things have decreased as we have gone into online education mode. So teaching learning in the video mode. Now I'll go a little bit more specific to higher education. So the mode that we use normally is the video mode. Whatever platform you use, doesn't matter, but it's a video mode. So what it does, it enhances flexibility in scheduling of classes. So earlier there is a problem if people are attending multiple courses. You can't have a class at 11 a.m. Now you can do it at 7 p.m. What difference does it make? You're sitting at home anyways, and you're teaching from home, and maybe better for the student because the one cell phone that the family has may be more available at 7. So especially the ones who have missed the classes, this is much easier to do. The challenges for the teacher is to make the visuals and presentation appealing. Just imagine connectivity is poor, so you normally tell the students, let's say I was teaching a class of 62 students and many had connectivity, so say please turn off your video so that you can get, now you can't see, they can't see you, they can only hear you and see your presentation. If the presentation is poor, forget it, they are gone. You have to have presentation which is appealing, which is exciting, needs work. Teachers have to improve their speaking and communication skills because now it has to be online only through speaking basically and the presentation you can present what you're in that course material you're presenting. Online forums in a class could help shy students ask questions. So this I have seen also. Some students in the classroom who are, let's say, not to say they are poor students, but they may be backbenchers, shy, will not raise their hand. But here you can't see them, so they're a little more open to asking questions because that shyness has gone away. So that's a good thing, which may normally have with them in a regular class. They can raise their hand and you can answer their questions. Online examinations are not easily possible, so we try to do this, and ultimately in one course we did Viva OC sort of an examination with different groups and one after the other, so they can't share the questions with each other. You have to juggle the questions so that even if they share the questions that won't have it. But it's okay for a small class, but for 300, 400 students, it's difficult. So we have to think of other means to examination. Gopal mentioned about open book examination, term papers, but all these are good, but they all take time and they need to be, you need to address how to do them. It offers opportunities for teachers to find creative ways of evaluating the students, and I'll come to that. Teacher could listen also, very important. Many times you give a lecture and they are recorded. So the student has missed, they can see it again. But how many times the teacher listens to his or her own recording? Normally never. But if you do that, then you see what are your own shortcomings and become a better lecturer and improve upon them for the next time. And so this is if you had an in-person class, you can't say, oh, what did I teach? Did I teach well last time or not? Not recorded. Now it's recorded, so you can replay and say, oh, I made this mistake. I didn't, you should see your own recording as if you were a student and put yourself in the shoes of the student and say, did I make it exciting for the student? If it's not exciting for you, it's definitely not exciting for the students. And you can have interaction with each other. You can have, you can see your colleagues, the lecturers, and vice versa to improve. This opportunity was not there before. So what are the benefits through video mode? Useful to students who are weak in the subject. They can revisit. So if you miss a class, you have missed a class and you have to depend on somebody else's notes and you never get the same feel. Now you can rewind the video, or you can go to the video. Or if you haven't understood some concept, you can rewind the video. Just like you see a movie and you say, oh, I missed this scene, recorded movie, and go back to that scene. Similarly, now you can rewind the video and clear your concept. So chances are that the weaker students will become less weak in terms of understanding the concepts. And they can see these when their attention spans are better. you may be giving a class where there are disruptions at home, but they can rewind. They can upload at the late at night or early morning where there are no disruptions at home and see these. So it's a beautiful thing. Useful to students who may not be able to follow English easily. There are lots of rural students who come from rural backgrounds and they have difficulty in understanding English. Not to say that all teachers have the same accent. We know that people from north, south have different accents, from Bengal and the other side of the country, Bombay, or Gujarat, they may have different accents. Students come from different backgrounds, so therefore they can rewind and hear these lectures again. In large classes, which are now becoming norm, sometimes students are sitting very far away. I remember of a story, a friend of mine in Nantag Technical University in Singapore. There the classes were of 300, 400 students. And the guys who were sitting in the back could barely see the face of the teacher. So once they were sitting next to each other by chance at a cafeteria, and the student came over, he says, you are Professor T.C. Pan. He says, yeah, I'm in your class. Oh, so you don't recognize me? So I can't recognize you in the class, but I recognized your voice, so I came to see you. Now you are seeing the face of the teacher right in front of you. There may not be eye contact, but at least you can see the teacher and see the expressions that the teacher may be making in part of the delivering of the lecture. Not possible in very large classes. Very useful to students who may have missed a class for one reason or the other. You may go to Bihar and there's flood and you can't come back, so you can, or you couldn't log in. You can log in some other time. And students can take notes of portions, and they, sometimes teachers are going very fast. They can revisit and update their notes. So we can use this for enhancing the quality of the education system. Let's look at it in that manner. We should use services of teaching assistants. So far, teaching assistants, when I was in Delhi, Bombay, they're there, but we didn't use their services so much. But now they can be online and they can be monitoring and they could be doing this, that, so many things they can do. The courses I taught at ISC last 2 semesters, the teaching assistants were wonderful because they helped monitor the class, monitor the questions, and also monitor the homework assignments, quizzes, which sometimes we took online. The videos can be used by new faculty members who are just starting. So maybe there is some great teacher in your institution, a new faculty, struggling to find his or her feet, can see the videos of the well-known teachers and so on, and try to get some tips and actually try and emulate or it can become even better teachers in the classroom. It'll benefit good students also, because good students sometimes they may miss a concept, so when they're reading, going through the video, they can go fast for something they understand well and at regular speed for something they have missed. Personalization is also possible, as beginners and experts both can watch at their convenient speed. Possible, this is huge opportunity, possible to translate into many languages if videos are available. Today we have the language processing through artificial intelligence. In fact, we are setting up a center in Bangalore. And if this happens, then you've taught it English and it can be translated any language for even a foreign country, let's say in Bengali for Bangladesh and some languages in African countries and so on. So this opportunity people have not even thought of. Now with AI, you can actually get them dubbed, or movies you see dubbed, but why not lectures? So potential advantages is that one-on-one interaction between faculty and student gets a little tricky, but can be done. No instant feedback from body language of students, because when you're teaching in a class, this is the worst thing I felt in teaching online, that people are smiling or they're feeling good of what you taught and they're nodding and all that. You miss that on online teaching. So that's a little bit disadvantage. Distractions beyond that of a classroom. Student is at home and she or he may be distracted because of siblings and father, mother making a noise and whatnot. And of course, network issues. large bandwidth needed for video when the video is on, and there could be frequent disruptions. And India is moving, in my opinion, fairly fast with Airtel, Jio, and other platforms for giving good bandwidth. And I think we are in the right direction. If students' videos turned off, the teacher doesn't know that. I mentioned that earlier, whether he or she is attentive or not. But you can do that by asking a question suddenly to somebody. And I've done that and found that some people were attentive and some were, oh, sir, sorry, sir, I missed that portion. Because you ask a question of what you just finished teaching. Since classes are recorded, the student may tend to slacken. So this is, first I said it's an advantage that they can see it later, but if they say, hey, I'll see it later, so they will slacken class, not so good. They should pay attention in class and see it later only if and when required. The other thing I've noticed is that the time to cover the subject matter in a regular class, when you say normally we take a 55-minute or 1 hour class, and I do it online, I can finish it in 40 minutes because there's no feedback loop from the students and so on, unless you stop and ask any questions this time. But then you can do more pauses, and you can, like I said, ask questions in the middle or towards the end and have an interactive session. Increase power of tutorials and role of TAs. So I think one of the things we can do is that tutorials right now, by and large, you have one tutorial for 3 lectures. Lectures can go fast, and we should have more attention on tutorials, so you can have 1 tutorial for 2 lectures. Tutorials can be made, and I'll talk about that a little bit later also, made more personal by having lesser number of students, and let the TAs attend your lecture, and then they're PhD students and they're good, so and then they can take the tutorials. The other thing is that large classes may be taken by one good lecturer. A good lecturer means person who delivers the content well. The good lecturer may be an assistant professor, the good lecturer may be a full professor. And also on this personalized tutorial interactions, a good person for the tutorial may be a senior professor or an assistant professor. So right now we just tend to be the senior professor will do this and juniors will do this. We have to break that barrier. Projects can be given in smaller groups to students, and the TAs, the number of TAs can be increased. They can interact with the students to enhance their creativity and innovative thinking. We should use teaching assistants to help sessions as well as help in preparing term papers, projects, and so on. The role of TAs increases considerably in helping the main lecturer. The teacher-TA interaction increases greatly. And this is good because the enhanced role of TAs is useful in training them to become potential teachers, because they have become like a junior teacher in a way. And they may, if they like it, they may tend to go into teaching profession, will help us to alleviate the shortage of teachers that we have in the country. So let me go to the last of this. Why do we evaluate in a course? To judge the extent of knowledge imparted in the lectures by the teachers to the students. That is why we judge. Some of this may be simply retention of knowledge, so you retain the knowledge and and you bring it out in the examination. You're all done. You get an A grade and so on. And then sometimes we pose questions based on fundamentals, see if the students can analyze solving the problems. So this is another way. Ability to differentiator for the application of knowledge gained in the course, to see students have crossed the threshold for passing the course and not for a degree. And it also distinguishes between the ability of students for the purpose of grading. Now, as I see the ideal situation, the entire class should grasp all the knowledge transmitted in the classroom by the teacher. If that happens, and if you can ensure that the reason for having an examination goes away, all the kids can get an A grade or pass grade, everyone should be above the threshold. This is a challenge for the teacher that I am teaching. Everybody in my class should learn everything that I've taught well. But unfortunately, or for whatever, we are not in that mode. So this doesn't happen. Hence, we need examination process and the like. And this is an opportunity that we can think of how to get away from it. What is the philosophy of evaluation? Online teaching has given the opportunity to revamp the evaluation process. The aim should be to produce good students or better students for a better future life that they will have. The rest is not important. What A grade, B grade you got. It doesn't matter. Evaluation assessment requires different and innovative methods for the online teaching. Teachers are required to develop a more online systematic approach. Open book is one possibility. Take-home examination is another possibility. It means more work for the teacher. TAs could play a major role, as I mentioned. Challenge the students in the class with innovative approaches. And my experience is that the time taken to cover the subject matter online is less. So therefore, the less, as I mentioned earlier, then the time that is remaining, you can utilize it for question answers and solve, opposing some new paradigms to them. So we need some out-of-box thinking. We can also warn the students in advance about the portion they'll be questioned based on the previous lectures, and just ask them in class. Just pick one person here, one person there at random, and see if they're attentive or not. Surprise online quizzes are a possibility. They can upload. My TAs, I don't understand the technology so well, but my TAs understand so well. He said, don't worry, Google, blah, blah, I'll take care of the quiz. You just give the quiz, we'll collect it online. Oh, tremendous. The undergraduate students of NITs are among the brightest in the country. Okay, they are in the top maximum 5% of the cohorts. So we can involve them in some research topics. Why do you have to always say, okay, classroom? Get them involved in some projects, some research topics, give them a topic and have them produce a term paper. And it can be based on existing literature, which is fine. They can do a literature search and come up. They are learning something in the process. See, the basic knowledge that you're trying to go is all available online. So why waste time on that? Let's take them a little bit forward. This is easier to do when students start taking departmental courses. Of course, it'll be easier. Larger classes in first year and so on may be a little difficult. But then in the larger classes, you can break them into random groups. So give them some topics so they can interact with each other. And this has been done in several universities in the States. That the teaching material is given to them for them to study, but they are posed problems in groups to solve it based on the teaching material. And this will inculcate their thinking, analysis, thinking out of the box, inculcate the habit of collaboration also. And you'll see that the paradigm, which I said, what is the purpose of all this is to make better students. Examinations happen to be only one of the ways to do it. Use the students to enhance the research areas of the teacher. End up with research opportunities for the students. And in MIT, in Bombay, we started at IIT Bombay, but MIT was a leader in research opportunities for undergraduate students. UROP, they call it. In general, think of innovative ways of engaging students and assess their intellectual ability in that manner. Some of the above may require, and then NITs are autonomous institutions, so therefore you have so much flexibility to do what you would do. Some of the above may require greater time with the faculty in the long, when you begin with, so there's extra work here. But in the long run, this will bring about a cultural change and give a boost to research, boost to their teaching capabilities. Also, assessment is important for fostering students' learning, motivating their engagement and evaluating their achievements. So do it in that manner. And I mentioned that already, several universities in USA have a methodology where they have this collaborative thing going on. This can now be extended. Earlier, I've seen this in several universities where in a biggish classroom, there are 25 students working on their laptops and the teacher is posing a question on the screen and they are collaborating with each other. You don't need to be in a classroom. You can be in a village or in Bombay or Bangalore, wherever, and do this, because everybody can see everybody's screen if you want. Easy to do. Technology has really taken us, made us leapfrog into this realm. Then I would like to talk about outreach. Students anywhere can attend your lectures. You don't have to be, Gopal said we are missing the students, but you see the students online, so why are you missing them? You should take that opportunity and say, okay, guys, how are you doing? And so on and so forth, and get connected. Then you can say anywhere in India, students of a particular institute don't have to miss classes if they have to go home for some reason, for a wedding or something, whatever. Anywhere in India, students from other institutions, within Goa, you can see, within Karnataka, you can see there's so many engineering colleges. You have difficulty, NITs have difficulty in getting teachers, faculty members. Just imagine for the other colleges. When I say other colleges, means not of the level, not even close to them. How will they get teachers? So you can do this outreach, opportunity to increase that outreach. As long as they follow the similar syllabus, then you can also think about this in the NITs. Why I'm saying in the NITs, let us say 32 NITs are too large, but probably not. But let's say 5 NITs get together, make a consortium, and say this lecture in electrical engineering, let's say in AI or in chemical engineering, in unit operations, will be given by the lecturer not in the sense of the designation, from, let's say, NIT Suratkal, and the 5 other who are in the consortium are attending that lecture. Okay, you are autonomous, so you can have similar syllabus if you get to that. You have saved the time of 5 people giving lecture in the other 5 institutions if it's a consortium of 6. Those 5 who have saved their time should spend their time in powerful tutorials and all the interactions that I'm talking about, research and term paper and all that business. It's a great, so the best lecturer, he or she may be a professor or an assistant professor, let's say, and I'm saying Suratkal, it could be Goa. Let that person give the best lecture to 6 institutions. One time, you never thought of it earlier because everybody was in classrooms. Now you can do it. And once you do it, 6 places are getting quality lectures, and the other are listening to it, attending it, and they are giving their best for taking the tutorials and making their students even sharper. This is a unique opportunity which this pandemic has shown up, but you have to collaborate. You have to 6 IITs or 5 NITs, IITs or NITs have to combine together to do it. You shouldn't have this ego that I am the better NIT and then all that should go away. The best lecture should be given to students of 6 NITs together, and the other people hone their skills of the students to make them even sharper students. Ultimately, NIT students should be such that you say, oh, you're from NIT, you have this best institutions for teaching. You have this opportunity. Anywhere outside of India is possible. So you're talking about China and Bangladesh and whatnot, where you have been. If your lectures are of high quality, I can guarantee you there are many countries which will take your lectures. And if it's online, whether it's 300 or 500 and 1,000, it doesn't matter. You don't ask questions in the lecture. The teachers who are locally will learn from it, and they will take sometimes having the very senior professor mentoring students in the tutorial is more powerful than a junior one, and let the junior one do the teaching. Some junior means assistant professor. So you have to break those shackles and take yourself forward. Outside India could be neighboring countries in Asian region. It could be in the African continent and wherever. So you have to, right now you can interact and collaborate with anybody you want. Everybody's available, to take your call. Several universities may try to do this the world over. The challenge is that you, NITs in this case, and your courses should be the best. If you are the best, then you can compete with anybody in the world. These initiatives will really enhance the quality of education within the country and their outreach. It's an unusual opportunity. We should grab it. Several IITs have excellent models of online education. IIT Bombay, Delhi, and so on. You can just replicate that as centers of distance learning. You don't have to go learning about that. Some of you may be already doing that. Just enhance it. Take it to the next level. And lastly, curriculum-related matters. It's a new paradigm. We must revisit the curriculum of all courses and revamp it. There's another opportunity. We have been just saying, the unit operations or AI or circuitry and so on. We are following this book that you should teach the best that you think should be taught to the student. Revamp your curriculum. Keep it flexible. Keep it in mind that it should be flexible and efficient when you're doing this. Keep the interest of the students in mind, not the syllabus that you've been teaching before, but the students, how will they perform when they leave the portals of your institution? Keep that interest in mind. Talk to them, say, what would you like to learn? Some alumni will give you some feedback and enhance your outreach to the students. Introduce innovation and creativity in the curriculum. I've already said that earlier. Students can read up the routine stuff on their own. Everything is available on the net. Sometimes teachers are making their courses by taking material from the net. So why do you have to do this when they can do it themselves? Just tell them where to go. Give them something beyond the course structure. Clear their concepts as and when required. With all the video services available, we can make group of students to interact and solve problems. And as I mentioned earlier, teaching learning is about making the students become well-versed in the subject and not about examining them. This is what you should keep in mind. Should design the syllabus so that give the students a better professional future. Already said that actually. Okay, this of course needs more work on the teachers' side, but when they go through the cycle a few times, then it will become part of their ecosystem and their own knowledge and teaching skills will increase and they will become better teachers in this global world if you are doing this outreach and all that. All this will become, you have to revamp the curriculum, otherwise it won't happen. If you're teaching the same old stuff you're teaching, it won't happen. You have to change. Let us use the opportunity in the pandemic to benefit the institutions. Time is running short. How much time do I have? 5 minutes or?
Enough time.
Okay, 5 minutes. And this I'm happy to share the slides. You can read it later. The impact on doctoral studies is, of course, different kind because people have to do their experiments. Most times it's experimental based and the labs have to be open and so on. So therefore, and there may be some shortage of money, funds and so on. The growing education institution gap between the centers and those who have the higher income, lower income institutions, there may be a little disparity. This is a topic which can be taken up separately. Okay, so how COVID-19 inspiring technical education reform? This is an article in The Economist. The internationalization revolution possible for higher education. They were writing it, and I'm telling you also, you can do that. Are we at a transformative moment on online learning? Yes, we are. Let's take advantage of it. Pandemic would create significant short-term difficulties. As I said, we'll have to do all these different thinking, but long-term challenges and benefits. Higher education is likely to change fundamentally. Those are the things I was mentioning. COVID-19 forced teachers to shift to remote learning in a matter of days, cobbling together online teaching platforms and so on. But they've done it. Now we have to take it to the next level. Effective usage of technology in education is required. And this not remote learning and all this figure is there on the right side. So measures to be taken on quality education. Once COVID goes, education will reopen. The authorities would confine to invest in online education. They should carefully analyze what we have learned. Proper training of educators is needed. Disadvantaged students, availability of digital platforms will provide internet availability. Due to situation of COVID, many students are likely to suffer from stress, anxiety, and depression. So it's necessary to provide emotional support. Future work in this direction would be to analyze the association of different stress busters and so on. Moreover, guidelines should be created to anticipate the needs of the vulnerable student population. And this is just a picture of a visualization of the stress levels that you have, stress relieving in the various age groups, and what kinds of things they've been using to release their stress. And this is the visualization of demonstrate distribution of preferred social media platform, sample, and among different age groups. You can see these slides later. Time is going. This is just to ensure how much they learned and not sure are they learning, not learning, effect of online education. Major takeaway thoughts: the pandemic has pushed the advent of digital age. Public education cannot depend on digital platform provided by private companies. You have to do it yourself. We should consider ways, by that I mean the ed tech companies and so on. We should consider ways that the right of education might need to be broadened to have fluidity, flexibility in challenging context of contemporary societies. Strengthen public commitment, importance of teaching profession and teaching collaboration. This is takeaways, thought that I've already mentioned all these. Basically, expanding solidarity is necessary. And in your case, solidarity between NITs, that you can take this forward. What NIT should do, in my opinion, enhance the quality of teaching through the online. You should be known as the best teaching technical institutions in India. Research is going on. I'm very happy to see that. But teaching-wise, you should be as good or better than the IITs. And this is an opportunity. Encourage teachers to prepare outstanding presentations. Use the concept of breakout rooms. Several Zoom and all provide these breakout rooms, and you can do that. Sometimes difficult to do in a classroom. You go to this class, you go to that class, it's not available, this, that, and the other. Time is lost in changing. Here it's like instant. Make teaching more project-based. Think of education in terms of best transmission of knowledge. Develop unique ways of assessing students. Develop courses that can be used by other institutions. Coursera and all this, MIT, they're all doing it. Why can't we do it? NIT should grab this opportunity and become the best teaching institutions in India. So the pandemic has ushered the golden age of online teaching. And I would urge all of you to explore the infinite possibilities, and that is why I put the infinite sign in. Thank you so much.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. Before you go to the questions, I would like to mention that there are senior professors from NIT Suratkal, Dr. S.M. Megde, Dr. Kulkarni, many professors from Warangal, Agartala, they have joined this, and it's a great honor for us. They are online and they are participating.
Oh, very good.
The senior professor from Suratkal and Dr. Kulkarni, many of them. Sir, and one more thing I would like to add to your discussion is that NIT Goa had made a consortium with NIT Suratkal. This semester we have 7 virtual labs being conducted from NIT Suratkal, including meteorology lab. There are 16 professors from mechanical department that are involved. They are collaborating with NIT Goa, sir, so that our new department should not be starved of facilities.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Make it to 5, consortium of 5 or 6.
Yes.
And you will find that if you have 6, the chances of getting outstanding teachers in 6 in any given area is enhanced, and that the others, take the students in the tutorial mode.
And the second benefit you got was because of campus school facilities, our student had a better facilities, better opportunity for the campus placement, and all our students got 100% and got good facilities.
Very good.
The third thing you mentioned is very rightly said, that even though we don't have facilities like buildings, we always say this, that an institution cannot be built by bricks or contractors. It has to be built by the people.
Right.
Like IITs are great because, not because of any buildings, because of the quality of teachers, quality of students, quality of teaching learning process, and teacher-taught relations. IIT Bombay is known for that.
Gopal, what I'm saying is, after 5 years, I would like to hear that the best, so let's say a consortium you make of 5 IITs, that Goa, Surathkal, and whatever else you make, provide the best technical education in the country. I want to, if I hear that 5 years from now,
Your
I will
blessings.
get my- So what we're saying is, people are doing, but you have to enhance the quality to that level that people talk about it, that this is like that.
Dr. Jagannath Naik, Dean from Surathkal, joined. Thank you, Jagannath Naik, for being with us. Namaskar. Sir, to conclude the discussion we had, I have 2 points. I'll spend 2-3 minutes on this, sir, which has a relevance. We have been talking about the face-to-face contact and online. I had an opportunity to hear this small 2-minute story. There was a Gurukul, and a guru had 10 students. Out of these 10 students, 9 students are very good. They are studious, obedient, systematic, they were learning very well. Unfortunately, one of the boy was crazy, he was not preparable, he was troubling all these 9 students. So these 9 boys had enough, and one day they went to Guru and said, "Sir, this boy is troubling us, and we are not in a position to tolerate him, sir. You have to do something for him." And the Guru was silent, and these 9 students got again angry and said, "If you don't throw this boy out, all 9 of us will go out of the Gurukul." Then the Guru reacted, said, "I don't mind you 9 of you going out of this institution because Gurukul, because you are very good and you will not spoil the society. You are good basically. But if I send this boy out, he will be creating a nuisance to the society also. So I will send him only after make him right." So he tried that. After 1 year, only he sent him out. And when they took stock after 10 years, the boy who was mischievous was found to be very, very effective, and he was flourishing with the success. So this is missing in this online teaching learning process, because it's exactly as rightly said in Upanishad. There's a saying in Upanishad that the acharyat padam padam shishya sametya, padam sabramacharabhya, padam kalakramenacha. That is the acharyat padam. That means 1/4 of the knowledge student gets from his teacher. 1/4 he gets from his own merit. The remaining 1/4 he'll get from his peer interactions. The last one he gets because of his life learning, kalakramenacha. So in this, the first and third is missing because of online teaching learning purpose. There's no peer interactions with the students. In IITs, in a majority of the interaction happens in the canteen with the students, the faculty. So that is a challenge for this online teaching, sir.
I won't worry about it because this interaction can take online through these breakout rooms, totally. When you say 25%, one of the problems of teachers is that every teacher thinks that the student is learning 100% from me only. And that you have to get rid of and say, okay, I'm only teaching you 25%. But the teacher's mindset has to change. And this interaction can be enhanced much more through this online platform because everybody can see everybody and everybody's used to that. And interactions can happen. I won't worry about it. These are new paradigms. So what used to happen, you forget what used to happen. You have to see what you can do in this. And even when you come back to online, offline and into the classroom, some of these learnings you can take it forward even when students are back in the classroom.
So now the podium is open for discussions. I'm requesting any participants to have a question with our Professor Ashok Mishra ji.
Swapan, good to see you.
Namaskar, Swapan Bhattacharya. We had so much of technical discussions when I was at Dean twice. Sir, can you unmute? Swapan Bhattacharya. Yeah, we can't hear. Unmute, sir. Unmute.
Can I take a couple of minutes? First of all, thanks to Gopal
I call him Gopal always, even though he's
Very good.
for providing me this opportunity to listen to Professor Ashok Mishra. In fact, those who have seen me in Suratkal probably have noted that transformation of IIT Bombay during Professor Ashok Mishra's time was my role model for transforming NIT Suratkal, whatever way we could do. And I do confidently believe that when we are looking for a role model for transforming an institute, there's no reason for us not to consider those around 8 years, less than that, if I remember that, of Professor Ashok Mishra. In our school days or college days, we used to say that there is IIT Kanpur and other IITs. After Professor Ashok Mishra's tenure in Mumbai, we used to say there is IIT Mumbai and other IITs.
Yes.
I just
Thank you.
and what transformation? I asked sir, what do you think your best contribution? I still remember what he said. There are a few points. He said, Swapan, you should create an ambience in your campus so that you create academic visionaries in your campus who will lead other institutes after your departure. I'm so happy to see that I have two deans in my many deans in my tenure, leading institute, and sir himself present here. So
Yeah.
I again thank Professor Gopal to give me this opportunity, and I just conclude with one what transformation IIT Bombay has made. About 3 years back, I came to know that in the JEE IIT, out of top 50 ranks, 44, precisely 44, had opted for IIT Mumbai computer science. So I interact with Professor D.B. Patel, again, our guru. I met him somewhere and I told, sir, congratulations, great job done. He just said, so what did you do? I said, this is what has happened. But he said, we are worried. Why those 6 did not come to us? This is the transformation.
Absolutely.
And we have to look for those 6 guys, whether they have gone for computer science somewhere else in India.
Yeah.
Then we have to see what's wrong with us. So that is the transformation. Again, all initiated during that tenure. Thank you, sir. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's very difficult to say what one thing I did. Lots of things we did, and I think the research and changing the curriculum and all those things. But the main thing is that I didn't do anything. Everything was done by the deans and heads and professors. What I provided was, as you said rightly, to an ambience and a platform so they could do what is best for the institution and take the institution forward. I remember one professor, one head came once, oh, is it allowed? I said, if it's better for the institution and you're not embezzling money, yes, it is allowed. That's the attitude. And you can see today the director of Kanpur is from Bombay, director of Delhi is from Bombay, director of Bombay is from Bombay. Right. Patna, Hyderabad, about 8, 10, 11 leaders emerged from there. That's itself is a huge contribution of IIT Bombay. And I'm glad that...
Today, sir, we have Powai Valley. It's something like Silicon Valley. The way it's, unfortunately, it's not publicized to that extent. That is another...
one of the major things we did was to start SIGN, Society of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And now, of course, it takes time to get there. Now it has reached the first unicorn is out of there. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, any questions from participants? Actually, there is some connectivity issue in our campus. We are in one corner of Goa, Farmagudi, but still we are trying to, it's in one corner of the South Goa.
Right.
I'm requesting all participants to come and be with us after this COVID crisis hopefully by January we'll be inaugurating our new campus.
Yeah.
We are very, I'm very ambitious that our Honorable Prime Minister will inaugurate our new campus. Then we'll shift to the new campus, and it's a beautiful campus, sir. Actually, 124 acres. We are utilizing only 43 acres, and we are building about 67 lakh square feet with the latest facilities. My dream is to have a library without books, sir, and all the students should be in the campus, all 100%, so that they will have more interaction. Of course, I know COVID will not be this. So that's my hope, and I'm very sure that will happen, sir. And Professor Saparbhataja knows that I joined as a NIT student in Suratkal. I want to come out by building a NIT and give to society and retire afterwards. That's what my dream is. So I once again thank Professor Ashok Mishra ji for the wonderful talk.
Good.
And
sir, I would just leave you with this thought that don't let this online, whatever you've learned in online education, go by and go back to the old system and use the online platform to enhance the education and teaching. I would like to see the NITs. I would like to see some JEE rankers go to NITs.
All over 60 classrooms are smart classrooms, sir. All 60 classrooms are smart classrooms. And the student will take only the laptops.
No,
taking books.
You're not understanding. What I'm saying is, I would love to see the day when some student says, I got into NIT Goa and I will take that over some of the IIT that I'm getting into. Let's say in computer science, electrical.
Your blessings. Your blessings.
So that is when you have arrived. You have not arrived yet, and there's a long way to go. But online education is offering you an opportunity to do it. I would say grab it with both hands.
We made a very good consortium with IISc Bangalore, IIT Bombay, and IIT Warangal, and IIT Suratkal.
No, just do it with NITs. Don't involve IIT and so on. They will think they are superior and all that business. Don't do that. Just amongst yourselves, I'm sure there are. If you have a consortium of 4 or 5, you will have some teacher who's as good as in an IIT. Let them go and fly. And let the others take care of all these other examination sort of things, term paper, research, and so on and so forth. I would love to see a system where there's lecture and tutorial is 1:1 rather than 1:3, because you learn more in a tutorial. Lecture should be just, given. Revamp. Don't go by what you have been doing before. Then you will remain where you are.
So with these few words, sir, I once again thank Professor Ashok Mishra for sparing your valuable time. So we need your blessings to make this institution one of the top, at least among the new NITs in the years come. And we are the 77th rank NRF. Hopefully by next year we want to come to 50th rank. And we want you to come and guide us.
So that's the other thing. I would like to leave a message. I would go after what you want to do rather than the ranking. Because the moment you go after the ranking, your progress will be hampered. You should go with what is the best for the students, for your students to happen. Once you do that, rankings will follow. If you follow the rankings, you will fall on the wayside. I'm sorry, I have to say that very strongly. IIT Bombay, when I was there, we never worried about the ranking because we knew Kanpur was, let it be. And then Kanpur started worrying about the rankings. I think Bombay still doesn't worry about it. That's the beauty of it. Okay. Bye. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share.
Very nice of you, and thank Professor Bhattacharya, and all participants for being with us, and Kulkarni, Jagannath Naik, all. I don't want to miss anybody. And
thank you, sir. Thank you.
I'm really honored in your presence. Namaskar.
And people, I'm happy to take questions offline also. You can send me a list of questions because people may have been shy to ask or time is gone. I'm happy to do that. Okay, bye.
Namaskar, sir. Good day.
Good day.
Thank you.